Greetings radio freaks, and welcome along to another section on the CRT SS 7900. This is the overview that we're going to be doing on it. Quite quick, it's not going to be too drawn out. I'll go through things as quickly as I can. Right, this is an AM, FM, USB and LSB radio set or transceiver for, primarily it was 10 meters, but you can have these opened up. Like this one is for 11 meters. It's an easy fix if you want to do it yourself. So on AM it does 12 watts, FM 30 watts, and single sideband, which is either upper or lower, is 30 watts PEP, which is peak envelope power. And yeah, it's got a rejection of harmonics, of adjacent channels down to 50 dB and 65 dB, sorry, 65 dB on harmonics. It's image rejection. We'll be looking at that just in case you're a bit skeptical about this brand. I know they're not very well known. They are getting big within CB land. The 6900 is probably one of the more popular brands that they do, or rigs that they do, and the 9900 as well, but this is the 7900. So let's take a quick look at the menu options. So the first thing that strikes us is the nice clear display. It's got a signal meter, power meter and SWA meter all built in here. This is this 3-level signal meter on the left hand side. Currently displayed below that is the model number. To the right hand side of the screen we have the mode that we're in. Currently it's in AM, what band we're selected, or group frequencies, E in this case, and the frequency is 27555. Now we can change this here with this orange button to the left. Okay, so we can change this part of the display here with this button on the left hand side, which is FRQ, which is frequency. If we just click that, what you'll see there is that it gives you the channel number rather than the frequency. So we can just toggle that by going in between, clicking on this button. The button next to it, we've got the band and tone. Now the band flicks through all the various bands, whether you want the lower mid section or high section of the bands, and of course we go into the 10 meter band as well, 28, 29 megs. We'll put it back to band E at this very moment. Now that band button also doubles up as the echo as well, if you want some echo on there. So by keeping your finger pressed on it for about 2 seconds, you see the tone button come up. I've just switched it off. For some reason it was on. I don't know why it was on. It was probably me messing around with it earlier. Do the same again if you want to turn it on. Just keep your finger on it until you see the echo symbol come up there on the screen. You can adjust that. There's settings in there so that you can adjust the amount of echo that you want on there, but to me it's something I don't really it doesn't float me boat, the echo. I tend to find on especially with SSB or AM it can get a bit distractive. Double function toggle buttons here. The outer one is our RF gain, so if you're doing local contacts you can get rid of the noise to a certain extent by reducing the RF gain, and you can still hear the people talking in the background. The outer control here is the RF power. So in this mode, we're on AM, 12 watts. We'll go from 0 right up to 12 watts when you're fully turned to the right on here on full control. What you do find is, though, if your antenna's particularly tuned well, you know, and you've got plenty of bandwidth on it, that you can get it peaking on AM to about 20-30 watts, because it's AM modulated. It still seems to peak very well. So that's this control here. This one here, it obviously has one function, which is the volume control. As we go along to the right, we'll look at these buttons here, well, these controls here. We have the squelch control, which is the sort of inner control here, and the outer one is the clarifier. Some people might know that as a BFO when you're going back to old talk there. But this basically tunes in your SSB, your single sideband, which is upper sideband or lower sideband, and you can clarify the signal in there. 9 times out of 10 it's going to be mid position, but some people do appear off frequency. We can set that to receive only, or we can set it within the menus, what we'll look at in a minute, to change your receive and transmit frequency at the same time. Bit of a delta tune that does both receive and transmit. So if you find someone is off frequency and they can't retune because their set's pretty faulty, you can tune both your receive and transmit should you want to at the same time. And here we have our frequency selection. We can do it in megahertz, kilohertz, and we can go right down to hertz and tune as well. As you see, if I push the button, you'll see that there you go, there's the 5, we can just change it there. We push it again whilst that's flashing, we can change in megahertz, 26, 27, 28 megs. You keep scrolling through and you can go down to sort of 10 hertz steps if need be. So that's all the main sort of knob controls, as it were, the dial controls. Here we got a menu button, and if we keep that pushed in, what we can see here, and it comes up here, is that you've got your mic control. It does time out, so you have to be pretty quick. And there we set the level of the mic. So if you want to do that, you push the control here in, and it starts to flash. We're set to 28. So if we wanted to change that to say 30, we push it, it flashes, dial it in to say 30, push, and then that's saved. We've got other controls here. This is the timeout, the talk timeout. This is set to 180 seconds. If you're working full power and you like a bit of a gossip, you can set that. That's set default 180 seconds. I generally keep it there because I don't sort of gas on too much. To change it, again, push the button in and dial it up or down. I think you can actually turn it off, but you know, if you want to look after your radio and you don't want to burn out amps, the chips in there, I really wouldn't mess around. The output transistors are probably roast, and you don't want to keep changing those. We have a squelch control there. This is the auto squelch. We can set whether that's on, the level there. I'll keep that on squelch. Now this is the fine adjustment control. I told you about the clarifier, whether you can do it just receive only, transmit only, receive and transmit. I keep it receive unless I've got a problem with someone that I'm trying to get hold of and they're off frequency. I only use the receive because the output of this, which I've checked on the spectrum analyzer, is pretty steady, and we'll have a look at that on the spectrum analyzer I've got here soon. Right, so that is your clarifier control, and then this is your default, whether you want channel or frequency displayed in this main panel here. This is the auto squelch control. You can adjust the sensitivity of the auto squelch. Now auto squelch, I normally have it set to 1. Auto squelch is when you're using the squelch control, if you turn it fully to the left, it will automatically, depending on the sensitivity of it, adjust the squelch to suit. I don't generally use that. I use it in manual control there. Right, so that's basically some of the menu functions. I don't want to go too deep into other functions there, but probably if you're a newbie, which is why you're watching this, if you're not watching it, then obviously you've had this rig or you know about all the functions on these types of radios. So they're the ones that are imperative, they're the ones that you need to know. Right, so the next control here, which we're going to, is mode and the auto squelch. If we toggle the mode, at the moment we're in AM, upper sideband, press it again, lower sideband. Again, now PA is if you want to put an external speaker on this, you can have a small PA system. But press it again, FM, AM, and then we're back to USB. DW is dual watch. You can program it to look at 2 channels if you're, it'll scan between 2. So if you're monitoring the treble 5 and you're expecting someone to come up on 575, you can program that in on there, press the dual watch, and it'll listen on both channels for you there, so that you're not missing someone should you be expecting them to call, or you've arranged someone on a net or something. RB is the Roger beep. If we press the Roger beep there, press that button, this is like the OK button as well. We can toggle around between, I think it's 5, yeah, it's 5 different bleeps. They're not really that impressive. I keep it off, so my Roger bleep's off. If you keep your hand on it, you've got the BP on, which then, if you press any of these buttons, you get the beeps. Well, that will annoy the hell out of me, so keep your finger on it for 2 seconds, BP off. Oops, I didn't wait for the menu to time out, so keep your finger on it for 2 seconds. Oh, I've done it wrong, I didn't push it in, so that's the important thing. When you get it on, enter it, BP off. Right, so now that's it, no beep. The next button here, which is marked MB, is noise blanker. It's not bad. It's particularly good if you're mobile. It does take away a little bit of the noise. That's what it does. It just quietens the noise floor down a bit by filtration. It's pretty crude, but it does have some functionality. So you just press that quickly to turn it on and off. Now this is scanning at the moment. That's why I didn't. Oh. Sorry, what did I press? Scan, that one, that's me, sorry. So if we press the noise blank off, you can see it indicate here, and it comes up here. So noise blank, NB comes up, so that's it on and off. If you keep it pressed in for 2 seconds, you get this hic come up, which is high cut. Basically, it's a very crude tone control. If you find everything's too high pitched or someone's voice is getting on your nerves, keep your finger on that noise blank button, stroke H cut button for 2 seconds, and you can toggle that on and off. I keep it off for now because I've not heard anyone yet with too much of an annoying voice. Scan, you can see what that does there. If you press that, you'll see it'll go through whatever band you're on. It'll go from the low to high frequencies. One of the settings that we did miss in there, and I purposely done it, is that you can adjust how long that actually scans on each channel for. Well, that's something you can sort of find at your own leisure, but you can, in the menu settings, toggle the timings that it stays on each channel for. Otherwise, it will just take ages to go through. And then you press it again, you got the skip. You got 5 memories. It's a dual control, so you can select memories, or if you keep your finger on it for 2 seconds, you store memories on there, and you use the selector and the push button enter to store it where you want, either memory 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So that's this control here. Right, so here's the default microphone you get with it, RJ45 connection, which connects into here. We've gone through microphones on a previous video, so you can sort of search that one out if you want to know more about microphones and modulation settings and things like that. What we're going to do now, we're just going to have a look at the spectrum analyzer, and we're going to have a look at harmonics. Okay, so don't let this consume you too much if you're not into spectrum analyzers and other such like equipment. Basically what we've got here, this trace at the bottom is the noise floor. And I've got this on about 140 megahertz span. Marker 1, which is here, this blue marker here, is the channel that we're looking at, which was 27.555. The delta marker, which is here, which is D2, is where the harmonic would be, which would be about, it's the second harmonic, which is 2 times 27.5, which is around about 54 megs. And what we're looking for is that this carrier is suppressed as much as possible, and it's got to meet around about the 50 to 55 dB mark. So if I go back to the right channel on the set here, which is 555, 27555. I'll key up. We're in the right mode. Okay, so there we go. We see our carrier go up here. This is our fundamental carrier here. And as we can see, Delta 2 is 56 dB down on this carrier. So this is being suppressed very well. I've D-keyed there. You can see the carrier go down. So what we're looking at here is this D2. If I span in a little bit closer, so let's say 100 megs, we'll see that a little bit clearer. So here we go, it's our main carrier here. We see that shoot up. Our harmonic is hardly moving at all, and that is one in spec, so 55.6 dB, just as it says in the manual. The manual specifies 55, and that's why you're getting 55. The third harmonic, which is down here at 80 something, that's non-existent. You can just about see the peak go up and down, just look like a nodule, and there's nothing there. It's non-existent. But it is important that you use proper tuned antennas for this, because if it's mistuned, you can find yourself optimizing yourself for the 54 megs, which I think is in one of the amateur radio bands, so you don't really want to be there. So that's it for this. That's it for this short video. I hope I've given you a bit more of an insight to some of the functionality of the CRT SS 7900 rig. Personally, I think it's, for the money, I think this is about £180. I don't think you can go wrong. It is a very good rig. It's quite reliable, as long as you connect everything up to it correctly. You have a proper tuned antenna on it, and don't run your SWR up. One good thing with this rig is that it has got SWR protection, which is on by default. I would not turn that off. I think if your SWR gets above 2 to 1, this is what this one's set up, it will cut off, it will stop transmitting, purely for the fact that the output transistors will be getting hot, and there's fins on the back here that will get hot. I'll show you the back. So here's the actual back of the rig. Got a very significant heatsink on the back here. If you're chatting away for a while, you do notice it gets quite warm to the or quite hot to the touch, but not at a dangerous level. The only time it will is if you turn that SWR protection off, the standing wave ratio protection off, and run it until you burn out the transistors. There's also, if you've got that near anything, you could do some damage to something else as well. PL259 SO239 connection on the back, which is a PL259 plugged to it, 50 ohm connection there, 3-pin 12 volt DC. Obviously only 2 of the pins are used on there, 13.8 volts. 2 audio jacks on the back here. These are, this is your PA speaker, would plug into this one here, and this one here is an external speaker. Now I run a Bluetooth external speaker in the vehicle because I can place that anywhere, and it sounds really good. The reason why I'm using an external speaker is because I've velcroed the bottom to fit on top of the dash, so there's a bit of velcro there that keeps it in place on the dashboard. So obviously the speaker becomes a bit muffled if you try to use that, but using an external speaker on it, you can get some very nice purpose made amplified speakers, which are very good. But I think mine was a £25 Bluetooth speaker, just a small one, from Sainsbury's, and it does a wonderful job. The battery lasts for hours on it, or you can charge it on the go, as it were, from your outlets in the car. But yes, me personally, I think this is a good choice. I'm very impressed with it. You've got users that love their 6900s, and I'm sure that's a very good rig as well. I just didn't like too many of the controls on there. The only downsides with this rig I find is that these controls are not illuminated. The only illuminated is obviously the screen and these function buttons, but they could have done something with lighting these up. Even if it was an extra £10 on the rig, that would have been well worth it. It would have looked really nice. But other than that, I'm really pleased with it. I think it's a really good rig. I've had some very good reports on there. Some of them were put online, and it's reliable. It does the job, and like I say, whether it's local or whether it's European contacts I've had some very good sort of reports with regards to audio and modulation. So there we go, that's the CRT SS 7900. Please like and subscribe if you find the information that we do here on this channel quite useful to you. I hope you do. I'm going to be doing a review on the Texan PL660 Ormo type radio that I've got there. It's a budget radio, but that's my next review I'll be doing on there, and what you could use it for, CB related. But very good radio anyway. I'm not going to go on too much about that. We'll save that for the next video. Thanks for watching. 73s. Take care, radio freaks, and I'll see you on the next one.